And welcome into this Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hope everybody is doing well. Hope you guys, Chase, I about said, hope you guys had a great day yesterday because I'm thinking about my birthday yesterday. I did actually have a great birthday yesterday. So let me start by saying thank you so much to everybody that wished me a happy birthday here, text, Instagram, all that stuff. It definitely means a lot, man. I definitely felt the love. So thank you guys so much, man. I really do appreciate all the birthday wishes. And I actually, man, this time around, I literally try to respond to every single message. I think actually I did. If I missed one, I apologize, but I think I responded to pretty much every single one that I could get my hands on. So definitely appreciate all of those birthday wishes. It was great, real simple and laid back, just like I like it, man. I got to go to the gym, wash my car, went and got some street tacos. I ate Chipotle for lunch because that's my favorite. Then I got the street tacos for dinner, and it was great, man. It was phenomenal. So I definitely appreciate all that from everyone. In terms of what we got for today, well, I know Pat is going to be lined up. If I had to guess, if I had to put some money on it, Chase, I think you might have said he is lined up. But if he's not, I'm putting money that he will be lined up because I saw that we did get we got a recruit. We got a recruit, and not just any recruit, one of the ones that Pat was very excited about, that Pat, was on very early on with, and I'm sure he's going to want to discuss that. So we'll dive into that. Plus, we got to dive into the playoff expansion talk. We never got around to that yesterday. That will be on the ticket today for sure. We got to dive into what the talks are looking like and what that means. And we'll definitely go on from there. But remember, it is a Talking Tuesday. What does that mean? It means we want to hear from you guys. You guys are the co-hosts of the show. 205-342-9904 is the number to the program if you guys want to get in on the conversation. Again, we're going to dive into some playoff talk, but anything and everything we're willing to cover. So you guys hit us up if you got that. You can always download that Tide 100.9 app completely free, and you can leave an app message where Chase will read that live on air, and we'll discuss it from there. Plus, if you're in the YouTube stream, which we definitely encourage you guys to check us out here as well. Again, if you like to watch me do the show, you want to see a visual, you want to watch the stuff that we're watching, check us out on YouTube. And you can always leave any comments, questions, or concerns in the chat, and we can also discuss that here as well. Per usual, got to remind you about our friends over at the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. Good Feet, Good Life. You got to check them out. Midtown Village is where you can find them here in Tuscaloosa. If you haven't already, make sure you go step in that store, man. It's try before you buy, nothing to lose. Walk-ins are welcome, or you can always go on their website and schedule an appointment or find the nearest location to you. But again, what are they? They are those premium arch supports designed to eliminate and alleviate all types of pain, whether it's foot pain, knee pain, back pain. Everything starts with your foundation, starts from the ground up, and that would be your feet. That's why you got to check out the Good Feet store. I've been using them, whether it's walking my dog around. It really doesn't matter. You just keep them in your shoes, man. They take great care of you. But if you're a very active person like myself, you definitely will benefit from these. So make sure you guys don't miss out on the Good Feet store. Try before you buy. Take a visit over there to the Good Feet store right there in Midtown Village, or the nearest location to you, Birmingham, South Alabama, all over the country. They've got them. Check them out today to get that pain relief. Clinically proven to do so in just 4 short weeks. The best in the business when it comes to orthotics and taking care of foot pain, knee pain, back pain, all that stuff related. That being said, we got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we jump into things on this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Support Expert. We'll be right back.
At Tuscaloosa Mazda.
What's up, Carson? Man, my headphones sound weird. Okay, there it goes. That's what I was like. Something sounded weird. Good afternoon, man. Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Josh Pate was on the Crane and Co. show talking about Bam, and it was good. We back. Dwight, what's up, man? Yes, sir. I see you in the building, Dwight. Crane and Co. Is that a podcast? I mean, I'm sure it is, but I feel like I've heard of that. Crane and Co. Let's see. I love it, man. Anytime we get a good video to break some stuff down, man, we're gonna do it. Oh yeah, I've seen them before. 26-minute video. Oh, wait, they're Auburn guys? Justin, what's going on, man? Good morning. Roll Tide, man. I didn't know they're Auburn guys. I've seen their stuff before. Yeah, we can definitely I want to listen to it. I know 26 minutes is a little bit of time, but we're gonna have to hire Carson on staff. He's about to get us some timestamps and everything. Gonna make your job a little bit easier, Chase. Oh, and the Michigan guy. Huh. Yeah, I don't know if I've seen it. Where's my drink, man? I'm not gonna do this with this throat today. Pause. Clear my throat. Oh man. Yeah, I don't mind letting it run. Hell, it's Talking Tuesday. We can let it run. Well, I know we got Pat on the phone lines. He's going to want to talk about this quarterback.
For a quote that could save you.
Which I probably should. Let me pull his stats up again. I know Pat's going to remind us, but Jet. What was his last name? Mile or something? I wish I just knew more about the young man. I don't know much about him.
Who doesn't know how to navigate in the dark yet?
Jet something. Let me just pull this up. Have y'all checked this kid out? 534 is pretty solid. Bet you got it, Carson. We'll load it up. We'll pot it up, and we'll hear what he's got to say. Oh, thanks, Dwight. Jet Tamala. That's right.
Industrial maintenance and crane rentals with a proven track record of over 30-plus years of experience.
That's right. Have you watched him, Dwight, Carson, Ricky, any of you guys? Have y'all watched this kid? Oh, let me share it with Twitter.
Construction at 205-752-9611.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Art Sport Experts. Hope you guys are doing well. We're about to dive into this Talking Tuesday. I can tell you right now, Pat is indeed lined up on the phone lines. I know where exactly we're going to start things off, which is good by me because we did get some big time recruiting news with football. So we'll jump over to Pat, but again, we will dive into some playoff talk. Plus, Carson in the chat, who we're about to put on staff. Him and T are like honorary like staff members at this point, man. They and Ricky for that matter. I mean, they find all the good content and bring it to us. So Carson brought to my attention there was a new podcast that was out with Josh Pate joining Crane & Co. And he was talking about Alabama. So it's about 20-something minutes. Maybe we'll jump around through it, but we'll definitely we'll check that out. But first, why don't we go to the phone lines, 205-342-9904. We got Pat. Pat, tell me, man. Tell me what I need to hear.
Man, I saw that Josh Pate deal, and Josh Pate did mention our new quarterback.
No, did he?
He didn't even know for sure that he was going to be. Hey, and then poor people over at Jocks in Birmingham. I just came from Andrews Sports Medicine. That was my favorite place.
Mine too.
I just graduated. I don't have to go back. And
good for you.
The finest docs that are available are there. And but anyway, and I just mentioned it because I've heard that y'all they're all one of your sponsors.
They are indeed.
And but anyway, hey, he's just signed into the Elite 11 finals out in California. Our quarterback has just signed into. I just looked up, and he has signed into the Elite 11 finals. Oh my goodness! I'm hoping that he gets on the airplane when they get out of there on Friday and flies straight to Tuscaloosa. is what I'm hoping that he's in to help recruit our final weekend. Is that possible?
I don't. You mean like just to come here to help? I mean, I was about to say I don't know what schedule. If his schedule allows it, sure. But yeah, no. I mean, he can take as many.
He doesn't have any.
He can't come on an official. Yeah, if he can't come on an official, but I mean,
he can come on. He can come on an official because he made an unofficial to Tuscaloosa.
So that wasn't an official. I thought he was a member of the official visitor group because it wasn't he there when I was. Maybe
no,
for him, it might have been unofficial
time.
for him though. He was up here with all the official visitors, so that he was here the weekend I was up there, right?
Yeah, he was there. He was a member of that in that 14 or 15 member group, but he was the only unofficial in that group, and but he was there on his own dime. And then within the next weekend, he went to Iowa State on an official, and he's been deciding in that period of time. But Pat was on him as soon as it was mentioned that he had an offer. I was on him, and nobody else was on him but Pat. And so I had to kind of teach on a little bit. Hey, but all you got to do,
Pat, the recruiting expert, man. I give you the title. You got it. You called it, man. You called in a couple weeks ago, and you're the first one. I hadn't heard of the guy until you brought him up, man. I give you a prop.
Yeah, and but I promise you this: that rascal was absolutely incredible. You go back and look at his film, you can see how athletic he is dunking a basketball. And usually kids that are that athletic dribbling and the coordination to dunk a basketball dribbling on the dribble are, pretty athletic. But it's unreal to throw. It doesn't matter. You can say what you want to about Nebraska football and that it's, nothing compared to South Florida, blah, blah, blah. But you throw for 3,700 yards, 70% completion rate, and only 3 interceptions. I don't care who you are. That's fantastic. What do you think?
That is. No, it is. I'm looking at some more numbers right here. He's thrown for over 6,000 yards. It was 73 touchdowns, and all doing all that while maintaining a 65% completion percentage, which is outstanding. My thing is, Pat, I don't try to don't rain on anybody's parade. It's just, I just know in high school, man, like, you'll see all type of astronomical numbers. I'm sure he is great. It's just, I personally like being able to see the guy a little bit more up close and personal. You know what I'm saying? Like, I haven't really watched any of his. The only clips I've seen, Pat, were the little highlights that we saw on YouTube. Does he have a Huddle account? Is there anywhere we can watch like his actual game tape?
Well, Pat's talked to people that witnessed him throwing for the coaches at Alabama, and that he's just young, but he's special, and he's up now to close to being a top 10 quarterback. He's not ranked the number 1, number 2, number 5 quarterback in the country, but he is probably a top 10 quarterback. And we'll see what happens at this Elite 11 finals out there. It may be that he jumps on up the leaderboard. Hey, whenever our quarterback that's now the number 1 quarterback in the country, Russell, whenever he went to the Elite 11, he wasn't the top 5 quarterback.
He was. I can't remember what he was at the time.
He was down around number 10 or so, somewhere along in there, or below. And not only did he win that one, but he went down to Florida and won the competition in Florida too. He was special. When I saw him throw in San Antonio, I knew that Russell was special. And my son is actually was an NFL agent, and he said, "Daddy," he said, "I've never seen a quarterback with that kind of throwing motion, that natural coming out of high school."
Yeah, I think when you look at Keelan Russell, man, you definitely can see everything about him is screaming. He's got a lot of potential, right? He can be one of those special guys at the quarterback position, without a doubt. What's your son think about this guy, Jet Tamala, however you pronounce it?
Here's the deal: is that was able Coach DeBoer and his crew, hats off to him. How in the world do you go out and pick up a top 10 quarterback after signing a generational quarterback like Russell? I mean, hey, he can't recruit. Y'all already knows he can't recruit. Oh no, the poor coach can't recruit. He can't recruit here. Well, he didn't recruit this kid out of the South. He recruited him out of the Midwest. But
yeah, we're watching his highlights
I,
right. We're watching his highlights right now on the YouTube stream. Like I actually found like legit highlights on Huddle. I guess from last season. He's had the first few throws are pretty impressive. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. He can definitely get the ball down.
Watch him dropping balls right into the over the shoulder catches that some of those kids are making. And hey, I want Coach to go and take a look at his receiver, but also signed with Iowa State. That receiver don't look bad either.
They got another on the same team as him?
I know you're looking at Booby, huh?
Are you saying on the same team as him, or just another Iowa State receiver?
Yes. He's from his team. That was one of the ones that was catching those 3,000 yards in passes. That he signed with Iowa State team. And, but I can't tell you what his name is because, like I said, I've been concentrating on the quarterback over the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but so far, man, we're about a minute in. He's got a nice touch to the football. I will say that, man. He can spin it.
Oh yeah, he's real good at being on short, intermediate passes. He's can thread the ball into a needle into tight areas. That kind of concerns me a little bit. But he seems to be making the throws. Because he had guys that were making the catches. You say quarterback can't. You got to play. It's got to be pitch and catch on both ends.
That's true.
That's
true.
But anyway,
yeah, I mean, that's a good pickup. I mean, I'll say this is a good pickup. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I think obviously they whoever they're going to offer, they see potential in. But I think the idea with a kid like this is he doesn't scream like star power like Keelan Russell. I think it's more of you bring him in. You know, he definitely has potential, but you know. Would he be on Keelan's level? Like, you know what I mean? I don't think I would say that, but
we don't know yet. Yeah, you got to understand. Keelan Russell was playing in the biggest pond in Texas.
Exactly, and he was doing all that stuff at that level.
And where his high school was, where Russell's high school was, those kids are all just about 19 years old graduating. You understand that, but they literally hold those kids back in grade school in order to make better athletes out of them.
That kind of leans into what I'm saying. I said, well, that kind of leans into what I'm saying, that Keelan Russell is probably a little bit more of a now type of guy. Obviously, he's still in even with that being said, just seeing him this spring, I mean, he's definitely got a ways to go until he's ready to be put out there.
But we don't have to have him be ready to play next year. That's
what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm literally saying. That he looks like a really good player. That to me, I don't think you sign this guy thinking he's going to be the starting quarterback next year. I think you let him develop, and hopefully, 2-3 years in, he could be one hell of a option back there, quarterback. That's just what I'm saying.
Sure,
personally.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where we're coming from. But like I said, a kid that's that kind of accuracy that he had in the long ball, the short balls. The more you look at that film, you'll say, "Wow, that is." I mean, even like I said, even if it's Nebraska, they're still playing pitch and catch, and the throws that he makes on those films is unbelievable.
Yeah, no, they're great, Pat. I'm just being trying, and I know you keep up with recruiting. I'm just being honest, though. I mean, like, I feel like a lot of high school quarterbacks. Again, these are all highlight tapes too. So, like, I'm just cautious before I put too much stock in it. Like, again, I agree with you. Like some of these throws, man. I mean, he's hitting guys in stride. He's got nice touch, especially on the deep ball. Look like he's got a little bit of escapability. I wouldn't say he's quite that. Honestly, I don't even know if he's as good an athlete as Ty Simpson, but he looks like he's a decent athlete. I think he's a solid player. To me, if I had just off of what I'm seeing right now, I would put him in the category or the tier of a guy that 2-3 years down the road after developing could be a solid player, but I don't see him being like an early.
The developmental quarterback, like I said, finding them out of high school. Well, I'm gonna tell you this about Ty. Ty's going to shock you. Ty's a whole lot quicker than people think, and Ty's got a whole lot more escapability than people think. that Ty is going to be given opportunity. Ty is going to be special this year.
No, I was complimenting his athleticism. That's what I was saying. Ty's a lot more athletic. I don't know about a lot more, but looks to be a good bit more athletic than this. I don't know. Anyway, I'm with you, Pat. I agree.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Hey, have a blessed one, and thank you for your time today.
Absolutely. Always, Pat. We appreciate you, man.
Right.
Yes, sir. Good deal. Maybe I just want to explain it right, Chase. I was like, everything he's saying, I was like, I'm agreeing with what he's saying. I think we're saying the same thing. We got to hit timeout. We come back. We got QD on the phone lines up next. 205-342-9904. You guys want to get in on the conversation? You know how. Hit us up. We'll talk with you right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230.
You'll find road and utility crews, tow truck, law.
All right. Well, maybe it seems like you guys in the chat get what I was saying. I think Pat was just really excited, but what I was like trying to explain to him was I think the guy like obviously can throw the football, but guys, we're talking about a 3-minute highlight video, man. Like again, as a former player here, professionally, just I've been around a lot of football, man. And you guys know how we are on the show. I mean, we're not just going to just pump people up or pump things up just because, you know, I love Alabama. We don't do that. No, man, that takes away my credibility. Like if I'm just being completely transparent, man, I mean, like if we go back and watch Eli Holstein's high school tape, we go watch Dylan Lonergan's, not even just high school tape, but in spring. All those guys can make these throws if you watch a highlight tape. But what really separates them from actually turning into something? Shit, a whole bunch of stuff. That's what I'm saying. I can't sit there and go, oh, this, like a guy like Keelan Russell, man, when I watch this tape, to me, there's just something more that you're seeing on the tape that really, like, I think this is like, these are solid clips. Again, it's a 3-minute and 48-second highlight thing, you know. And it's, you know, you see like he's got good touch on the football. He can throw it. Yeah, Carson says or even just like, you know, just something like some of the plays he's making, like, you know, rolling out, throwing across his body, like just like certain things like that are instinctual that you're seeing from a quarterback with the touch and just, you know what I mean? Like just like when you watch like Pat Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers, like those guys have like that kind of touch. You know what I mean? It's not just because they look cool, but they're doing things like when you can make accurate throws while doing things mechanically that you're not supposed to do, that clearly is special arm talent. You get what I'm saying? You're not supposed to throw off your back foot. You're not supposed naturally, it's not, comfortable to be rolling out one way and throwing across like, but when those guys do that and with touch, you know what I mean? Not just to look cool, but because they're able to do it. That's the type of stuff that separates guys. And I feel like when you watch Keelan, excuse me, I keep calling him Keelan. I think it's just Keelan. When you watched Keelan in high school, like he kind of had that to him. Like this guy was sitting in the pocket and make these great throws. Don't get me wrong. But again, I mean, I don't know. I'm always cautiously optimistic, man. Like that's solid escapability, but like, I mean, I'd argue, Ty looks to be an even better athlete. That's why he even said that. I was like, dude, I just said that, Pat.
Today at 205-752-9611. Again,
yeah,
that's Brian Harding.
That's what I was even saying. Like, and that's what I was explaining about this guy. Seeing Keelan, come out of high school, how talented he was. Keelan's not even ready right now. That's why I feel like this guy, you give him a couple of years, he could be solid, but he's not a right now type of guy, in my opinion. Not here, at least. And welcome back into the fucking Tuesday. This is the Miller's Edge, 900.9, 1230, WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch support expert. Just reading some of the responses in the chat, because again, we've been watching this new commits highlights. Again, Jet Tamala has committed to Alabama. He flipped from Iowa State, and Pat did call it, but some of the response in the chat, I think people are kind of in line with what I was saying. He definitely seemed like a solid pickup. You see the touch, you see the potential, but to me, I mean, this is more of not just saying like depth, like they don't ever see him playing, but you got Keelan. You expect him to be your guy for the next couple years after Ty. To me, this is more of we'll maybe see this guy 2-3 years down the road competing for the job. You know what I mean? I just think he's a good. When I say developmental piece, it's not like he can't play football. Dude can definitely play some football, but you guys get what I'm saying, man. That's just my personal opinion off of just 3 minutes real quick. But like Pat said, we don't know. And I'm not going to sit there and act like I know exactly what's going to happen. But I would put him in the tier where, like, I would not probably say he's right now at least. Again, but I guess we can always – he's got a whole nother senior year to play. Makes good throws, man. I'm happy with the pickup, though. But I just can't go ahead and just sit there and say, like, after seeing this 3-minute tape, like, I think he's going to be the next Bryce Young. Personally, I don't necessarily see that, but I don't see that out of a whole bunch of. It's hard to do that with high school tape. That's why I don't get into it too much. That being said, let's go back to the phone lines. 205-342-9904 is number. QD, welcome in.
Happy belated birthday, bro.
Appreciate you, my guy. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to hit you up yesterday, man. But
all good, man. I appreciate that.
Man.
Thank you.
Look, man, I called in today, man, because I be sitting there listening, bro, and I need to shake the trees, though, man. Real talk.
Talk to me.
After Pat, man, I love Pat. Listen to him, but dude be losing it, man. I mean, like, bro, this kid is a damn QB development kid, man. He good pickup, but he ain't no Bryce. He ain't no Tour, no. Nah, he ain't in that level. I'm just saying. But anyway.
Yeah, no, respectfully, I get it. I get it. Well, hey, we got his basketball highlights now. So wait, we talk about his athleticism. Here, we got him. Okay, he threw it down. Nice little dunk.
Yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
I don't doubt the kid, man. It's all about competition, bro. You know how it is.
Yeah,
what level you're playing at. But I just pick up, though. Happy about it.
Hey, I do like that. Okay, that was it. Never mind. He had 2 highlights in that basketball. Okay. Hey, but I like he can dunk, though. I like he's got some athleticism, man. I was like, wait, that was kind of good.
Look,
we like multi-sport athletes, so I'm serious. That is good. I mean, I'll take that.
Yeah. Listen, all right, bro. 2 years, 3 years, 2 years down the line, the kids develop, to a good SEC quarterback that can lead us to victories. I'm with it. All that. I'm with it. I mean, if Grubb doesn't like him, he's a good QB. You know what I'm saying? So I got no problem with it. That's why I call, bro. I sit back and listen, man. I've been following Bama, man. The first game, I'll say 19. I'm 50 years old, so 1982. I would say the first game that I fell in love with the Tide. They're playing Penn State. I think Penn State was number 1 or something like that. And they beat them 42-21. Been loving Bama since. But I'm gonna say this right here, man. I love Bama. I'm gonna preference that. Born and raised in Alabama. I love Alabama football program. But Christian, we're at a pivotal point in the program. I want to say this to all my Bama fans. Alabama has not been an elite football program since post-segregation, but twice. Bear Bryant, Nick Saban. In between there, we are a good to average football program. Now, Coach Stallings, much respect. 7 years, 1 natty, 10 wins a season, 1 SEC championship. In the 80s, Christian, we won 1 SEC championship after Bear Bryant. No natties. I'm just giving you history here.
Right.
Top dogs in the 80s, Auburn, Tennessee, LSU in this conference at Alabama. Just keeping it 100. 90s come. Okay. James Stallings. 1 natty, 1 SEC. Big dog in the 90s, Florida. Tennessee. We lost like 9 straight games to Tennessee, bro. Alabama. Average good. We win 10 wins here, there. We won SEC championship in '99. Probation, all that hit. We know about that.
Mm-hmm.
Probation, we were off. Let me keep it 100. Probation was contributing to it, but we was awful, bro. Nick Saban came, gave us the greatest dynasty in college football history, which you was part of, my brother. So I don't witness all that. Now you got Bama fans who only have witnessed the Saban time. A lot of them call in here.
Mm-hmm.
They don't understand the critical of what this program is right now, Christian. And I say this because I looked up on Twitter today in the meltdown and the crash outs from the Bama fans. I know they Sabanite. The ESPN has us predict to win only 9 games.
Didn't they? Wait, hold on. ESPN. Wait, hold on. You said ESPN. That's confusing though, QD, because I thought they just came out with their official post-spring poll, and I thought they had us like top 5 or something.
They came out with another one, bro. They got Texas going 10-2, Georgia going 10-2, Bama going 9-3, Tennessee going 9-3, and so forth. Both crashing out. I don't like it either, bro. So this is what I'm trying to say. I say all this to say, Christian.
Mm-hmm.
This is a critical year for Coach DeBoer. It ain't fair. It's hard, but it ain't fair. No, it's fair, but it's hard.
Yeah.
If he does not win 10 games, bro, 2 straight years of winning 9 games after following Nick Saban winning 10 or more for 16 straight years. My fear, bro, is Alabama going back to where it was between Bear Bryant and Nick Saban. A lot of Bama fans don't want to accept that. A lot of hosts on this show don't want to accept. On this radio station don't want to accept. I ain't talking about you. There's others.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama, between Bear Bryant and Nick Saban, was not an elite football program. I'm just being real, Christian.
No,
now,
that's fair. But so you had in '92, who was a coach?
Coach Stallings. I say he won 10 games in 7 years, but only one SEC championship and one natty in the same year. After '92, right. He didn't win another SEC championship. Big dog was Florida.
How long was he here for? Do you remember how many years? You said 7?
7 years. He won 10 games. Now, look, under Gene Stallings, we still win the top dog in the conference. Now.
You said we were or we weren't? You said weren't?
We weren't.
Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah, I was about to say. I'm asking all these questions because I'm trying to get filled in myself. Because I'll be honest with you. I mean, I know he won, but I didn't know like on average, what else went on outside of that. I don't know much about his time. Just being honest.
No, that's before your time, bro. Before your time. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm giving it to you, bro. Tommy knows some history too. I know some too. I just don't call it like Tommy. Tommy knows a little bit more pre-integration history for me, but I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying, bro? So I say it all to say, Christian, that this is critical, bro. The Saban era fans don't understand where Alabama was before Saban, and they don't know what we know, what the program was between Bryant and Saban. My question is the board going to be, I don't even think the fan base would be happy if the board was like Gene Stallings.
Well, I was literally going to ask you that because so you brought him up, so I'll share this real quick. I was fooling around sharing David Cornwell highlights just because I was trying to make a point that everybody's high school highlights look incredible. No. Cornwell is my guy. I promise. Listen, no. I'm not trying to hit anybody with this straight. I just was trying to think of. At first, I pulled up Mac Jones, but then I was like, well, then people are going to say, oh, well, Mac Jones ended up being one of the best quarterbacks in college football. No, listen. So I was trying to bring up guys, just any other guy that I was like, who's somebody that came here that didn't necessarily end up starting? No. I'm not trying to hit Cornwell with any chill. Cornwell is my teammate. Literally we came in the same class together. I just was trying to think of somebody who didn't necessarily end up winning the starting job here, but played quarterback here. I just was trying to prove a point that it's hard to just to go off of what you see.
I got you.
But so I segued from that. I'm looking up, Gene Stallings stuff right here. So he did, you're right. In '92, national championship, SEC championship, But I mean, he also, is a 4-time SEC Western Division champ, 92 through 94, 96. And then he was a 2-time coach of the year, 92, 94. So he did all that in the span of, which I didn't mention, in 92, like you said, that was where he stacked up pretty much everything. I mean, he got a George Munger Award, whatever that is. Sorry, I'm not too familiar. Walter Camp, Coach of the Year, Paul Bear Bryant Award, AFCA. Anyway, he got a number of things, right? But I was going to ask you that, and I'll pose this question to our listeners too. They can respond too. Would y'all be happy with that? Say Coach DeBoer was here. We'll even say like 5 years, because I'll be honest, 7 years is a long time if you're not consistently winning. I think the landscape is a little bit different now. In 5 years, say we won a national championship and all that SEC championship, but then the other 4 years were just like 9-win seasons. Are y'all good with that? Well, I feel like your answer is no, though. Yeah.
No.
You're not good with that, QD?
No, bro. No,
I mean, but think about it. We haven't won a national championship in, what is it, going on 5 years? 2020 was the last time we played and won in 21.
Bingo. You just proved my point, brother.
How?
I'm saying, bro. Saban last won in 20. Right? So even when he was here, we was going through a drought.
Absolutely.
So I'm breaking down the droughts of Bama championships. You went from 79 to 92. And I was here as a fan, and the fan base was going crazy. So imagine after Saban, how this fan base going to be.
Well, I think no matter what, the tensions in the, I guess, like the stress level is going to be high, right? Because like you just said, it's post Saban. We know what Coach Saban, even the last few years, like you said, we kind of were trending down. The reality was like you just mentioned, I mean, the fact that we won all those championships, SEC championships, literally playing in, championship after championship, all that stuff. And then right now, I feel like everybody's stressing out because they want to be able to have something to make them feel like, all right, we're still here. You know what I'm saying? But until we see that, so I feel like it's going to be high no matter what, which is unfortunate for somebody like Coach DeBoer, because like you just mentioned, I mean, even the new age people that don't understand like way back, they're expecting like what they saw during Coach Saban. But number one, I don't think that's realistic. But number two, I mean, it might not be here for a few more years. I mean, to me, I think realistically, all I could ask for is to be in the playoff picture every single year. And I'll be honest, and that's coming from somebody who was a part, like you just mentioned, of the whole Saban era. But I'm also realistic how college football is nowadays. I mean,
what I meant.
Good.
What I meant by no, my bad, because what I meant by no.
Good.
Let me clarify that. I don't think I would be happy with 9 wins a year and making the playoffs every other year, right? Coach Stallings, he made the SEC championship, I think 4 out of 7 years, but he lost to Florida. He only beat Florida once, right? So will we be happy if Caleb replace Florida with Texas? Will we be happy if Caleb DeBoer makes the SEC championship every other year or every 2-3 years and he loses to Texas, but he makes the playoff, no natties or one natty? My point is, let me rethink that, Christian.
No. Don't let me sway your answer. No, it's
no. I'm just
there's not a wrong answer.
No, you're not swaying me, bro. I just rethought this because I keep forgetting about the natty. If Coach DeBoer won a natty in 5 years, I'll be happy with that.
Yeah, I was about to say, to me personally, I would be fine with that. Only because I know, like, let's look at it. So the last few years you had, so Ohio State won last year. When was the last time they won one?
They had won one since 2000,
like 14, right? When they beat me or beat us, I should say.
Yeah.
I think that was the last year they won it. I think that was what 10 years.
10 years, and then I think before that was like 2002 they beat Miami. So yeah, they, you know what I'm saying? I think the difference with Ohio State is Ohio State still dominated their conference. And they dominated their rival. You know what I'm saying? I think the Bama fans, if we still were the top dog, this is the problem with Bama fans, myself included. We can handle not winning the natties because we know that was what Saban did will never happen again. But we can't tolerate not being the top dog in our conference.
Okay, see, now I can get on board with that. I can get on board with see like that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what we can't tolerate. We can't tolerate being passed by. You already had Georgia on our nips, getting passed by Georgia, getting passed by the newbie Texas, getting passed by Tennessee or LSU. We just can't have that, bro. We can go without having the natty because we know how hard it is, especially with the playoffs now. And honestly, I'm just keeping a buck. Even on y'all dynasty, there were some things that fell in place for y'all to get in that natty, but y'all did y'all had to do what y'all got there. We know about the tenant. Remember that what year that was? The Ole Miss lost to Arkansas, like, and some crazy force and whatever played. Iowa State beat Oklahoma State. Y'all got, bro. We know. Look, I'm just saying. Even today, we know it's going to be harder. I think we can deal with not winning natties like y'all did, but we just can't. We can't deal with getting passed by, bro. And that's why I think this year is critical. He got to make the playoffs, and he got to win 10 games minimum, bro. I think if he wins 9 games to make the playoffs, it's still gonna make us feel like we ain't top dog in the conference no more.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, and I'm with you. I would be the national championship thing. Like, even that's why when I forgot who it was last week, but I'm like, man, it's so early to be saying like, oh, I think we're gonna win the Natty. I'm like, I'm just playing the patient game right now. But I think the biggest thing is, like you said, man, it's really getting back to just being a dominant team and letting things fall into place. Right now, we've slowly kind of fell down into, I feel like, the realm of like everybody's on the same level, so to speak, really. At least that's how it feels. I feel like we're not much different than an Ole Miss, than a LSU, than a Texas, than a Georgia. Like, I feel like everybody's kind of, and that's not necessarily our fault. I think it's more of a product of the landscape of college football right now. But you just got to find ways to really, ascend back up. And I think that's what I'm really focused on. Because with that comes the championships. With that comes the SEC titles, all that other stuff. I think right now the biggest thing is we're recruiting well, which is good.
Yeah, we are. We're doing it.
Yeah, we're doing that, which is you checking that box. Last year was only the first year, right? And I'm just telling you from behind the scenes, without going into too much detail, there were so many moving parts, man. Like, it's one thing to say, like, oh, man, yeah, year one under Kalen DeBoer. Like, yeah, that's summarizing it. But if y'all knew, like, everything that they were having to navigate and figure out and stuff, like, that's not easy, the first year taking over for a guy. Which, again, I know everybody can collectively agree on that. But, like, seeing it firsthand, you know what I mean? Like, I will say, like, there was a lot of stuff they were trying to navigate and figure out. And, so I'm like, all right, I'm giving them some grace. But I'm with you, though. I do agree that this year will be pivotal because you don't really have the built-in year one. I don't want to call it an excuse, but you know what I'm saying. Like, it's something like a mulligan, so to speak, right? Year two, my expectations for them have risen because now I can't sit there and say like, oh, well, they're just kind of, figuring things out. No. They understand now. They know. So it does need to pick it up. But again, what sucks is everybody else is good. Yeah,
right. I give him grace on the first year, bro. I'm saying the fan in me was hurt and disappointed with the Oklahoma loss, and he lost, and I was one of the biggest ones. I was one of the biggest ones calling up and clowning them. But after cooler heads prevail, I give him grace on the first year. But I'm saying my concern is the program, and the program not being the top dog in this conference. And I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna get off. Real, true Alabama fans don't always wear their crimson glasses. No, between Bob Bryant and Nick Saban, we were not the top dog in this conference.
That's fair. No, I mean, that's not a lie. I get that. I would tell you this though, to make you feel better though. I feel confident though the way Coach Saban left the program. You know what I mean? Having Greg Byrne, like I feel like with all the resources we still have, I feel like there's a good chance we don't take that much of a step back over the next few years. I mean, I trust that with a guy like Kalen DeBoer who knows success and being able to still get these recruits in here and stuff like that, having the resources, I think we should be good. I know I always equivalent stuff to finances, but I think of it like this: like you look at in the past, like when there would be like a drop in the stock market, right? Like it did take a while to rebound and stuff like that. But I feel like nowadays, and I guess that anything could happen, but it feels like the drop-offs are a lot less significant. You recover a lot quicker, and I'm kind of like hoping that's this scenario here, if that makes any sense. I know it's a random comparison, but it's how my head is thinking about it.
No, I get it, bro. I get it. I think it's more of not us slipping, but other people passing us by. And that's something that you kind of can't control what the other teams do. Texas got a buttload of money. You know what I'm saying? Georgia's going to be Georgia as long as Kirby's there. So it's like, you know, we always had the equalizer. You know what the equalizer was, right?
Yeah.
We always had that was Nick Saban. We had the discount. We had the equalizer. You know, there was other programs that spend money and got great facilities, but we had Nick.
True.
You know what I'm saying? So nothing against Coach DeBoer. You know what I'm saying? But we can still have the program's in the best shape it's ever been. Ever. But is that still enough?
I think I'll be honest with you. I think it should be. I mean, we're talking literally like they show up against Oklahoma last year, and we could be having a totally different conversation. We would have been playing in the SEC championship. Don't know how that would have went, but I'd imagine we would have been in the playoffs. And I'll be honest with you, just one of those games, one of those losses, which again, that was my biggest problem last year, was the way we lost. It wasn't just because we got losses, is how we lost. I feel like they were avoidable. Long story short, I feel like we're not far behind, even from the year one deal. Not far.
No, let me clarify. I don't think we're far behind, bro. I'm not saying that. We just won the SEC championship 2 years ago. Not saying that.
No. Yeah, I'm not saying you. I'm just saying in general.
Yeah, I'm just saying that, bro. This year right here, and I think you said it before. We can't not go another year without making the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I agree. That changes the whole outlook on this program right now.
It does, and that's why I wanted to make sure. And I say all that other stuff too. I know we got to go. I had to say that about the history because I hear a lot of Bama fans who have unrealistic expectations of the program. Like we've been winning, like Nick Saban was coaching for 50 years, and that's not true.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. No, that makes perfect sense. No, we're in agreement, man. This is a big year. Now, in terms of the reputation, the outlook, you know, even with recruits, man. I mean, I've said this before. You're right. You know, if you have 2 back-to-back 9-win years, and you're the University of Alabama, that's going to rub people the wrong way, man. And it's probably cast some doubt on guys wanting to come here because it's just going to make it seem like we're trending the opposite direction. They're going to turn their attention to probably some other programs that are trending the other way. But hopefully that's not the case. But I get what you're saying. Totally agree.
Yeah, bro. Okay, bro. Hey, once again, happy late birthday, youngin.
Appreciate you,
man.
My
When they say your dad gonna be on, man?
Man, he'll be on this week. I'll get him on here tomorrow, probably. I want to give him a day to chill a little bit because he just got back from traveling. But yeah, he's gonna hop on here every now and then, or at least a few times a week.
Yeah, I got to call and chop him up, man. Chop him up too, because you've been talking crazy.
We'll get you on with the no doubt. QD, we appreciate you, brother.
All right, bro.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Take it easy.
You too, brother. All right, that'll do it for hour number 1. Hour number 2 coming right up right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and
All right, so I was trying to read what you guys are saying over here. What do y'all think about that? How would y'all? I think Carson responded. How would y'all feel about that? Say Coach DeBoer is here 5 years, we win a natty. But then the other years are like kind of like last year, like 9 and 3 years. Maybe we'll say so. What 5 years? If you win a natty, obviously that's a good. So you already had 1 9-win season. Say another one is a national championship year. I don't know how many wins. Let's say we win a natty. But then the other 3 are like 3 more 9-win seasons. Would y'all be good with that? Personally, I mean, I would probably be fine with it just because we won a natty. But I guess maybe we should play this game. 2 scenarios. 2 5-year scenarios. One of them is similar to the Stallings thing, right? You have 1 great year and the rest are kind of like good years, right? Not great, but good, like 9-win years. Or the other scenario is no national championship game or no national championship win, but you got 5 years of like 10 straight wins, playoff runs, but you just don't quite win it all. But you're consistently in the picture. I'm gonna pose that question for everybody else when we come back. I think he did a good job going 9-3, especially with that simple playbook they're running.
Chapel Art, Chris Young.
I'll say this to White Man. I think they did well for given everything that they were, navigating with it being year one. But I will be honest with you, there were a number of things that I do feel could have been and should have been better. Like when you really dissect things, you know what I mean?
2-week specials.
Whether it's, South Carolina game, there's a lot of things that I just was like, man, just from a coaching perspective, felt like needed to be better. Tennessee, Oklahoma and it's always a split effort, but Oklahoma, we had a lot of failed execution too. But like South Carolina, we won that game, but I walked away from that game not really pleased. I know defensively, I think it was a pretty solid game I think for the most part. I can't remember, but there's some like the way we finished that first half. I'm not gonna lie, it was atrocious, man. Like I'm still to this day trying to figure out what we were. What was the idea behind like trying to push the ball downfield before the half, leading that interception, giving South Carolina to put points on the board? I didn't understand that, let alone the play call. So not only were we aggressive there, but then the play call, maybe Jalen wasn't supposed to do something, but he threw across the field, threw an interception. And then to end the game, I don't know if you guys remember that, but we got lucky, man. I forgot there's like a penalty or something happened. There were just so many. I don't know. It's a very interesting year. A lot of ups and downs.
Again, that's Brian Harding Construction at 205-752-9611.
Who's the top dog?
Tide.
You talking about right now, Carson? SEC championship will revolve between LSU, Georgia, Texas, Bama. Nobody will dominate like previous years. That's kind of what I was thinking. Like, well, I don't know about moving forward, but right now that's how it kind of feels. That you just have like a number of teams that are kind of all in the same tier. You don't just have like one that's above the others. It felt like that last year, and I feel like it's going to probably be similar moving forward.
Tide 100.9.
It's 82 degrees and
even throw Ole Miss and South Carolina in that conversation, at least last year.
0.9.
And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. All right, hour number one, quick recap for anybody just tuning in. Talked about, with Pat, we talked about his favorite thing, man. We talked recruiting. He finally got his biggest wish, Jet Tamala, flipped from Iowa State to Alabama, picking up a quarterback commit. So that was cool. We talked about that. We talked with QD, talked about the expectations, the outlook on this team, this program, what needs to happen, basically to save the program. The way QD views it, he feels like this program needs to be saved from the mediocrity that Alabama saw in between Bear Bryant and Nick Saban. But I was thinking about this, and I was talking with the chat here during the break, but I want to put this little, I guess, hypothetical game out there. It's always fun to play these, right? You have two options, right? Option A is to have, and we're going to basically have 2 5-year periods that you got to pick from. Option A is, say, we'll just use Kalen DeBoer. 5 years, Kalen DeBoer is here. We win one national championship, very similar to the Gene Stallings years. One national championship, but then the other years are just average, 9 wins is, it's a little bit better than average, but to us, it's average. Winning nine games for the other 4 years, but you have 1 year where you win a national championship. The other 4, you're almost middle of the pack of the SEC, but you at least won that one national championship in those 5 years. Or the latter, the second option would be 5 years, you don't win a national championship game, but you consistently are winning 10-plus games in the playoff hunt. You make the playoffs every single year of those 5 years, but you don't necessarily win a national championship. You get deep, you might make it to the semifinals, maybe even play in the national championship game if you lose, but you don't actually win one. Which would you guys be happier with? Personally, man, I'm not gonna lie, Chase. I'll even ask you real quick before we go to the phone line. Sorry. I think for me, man, at first I was like, I think it would be better to be able to say, yeah, we still won a national championship, but had those 9 wins, but didn't really make the playoffs other years, but at least we won one. But at the same time, I almost would rather the consistency, because it's kind of like the Ohio State example. You look at Ohio State, they hadn't won a national championship for 10 years? The last one was in 2014 when they had beat us in the Sugar Bowl. But they had been consistently over the past 10 years in that picture. They were playing in national championship games, semifinals repeatedly over and over. And they clearly were a dominant program. I feel like the teams, to me, the option A, Chase, looks like LSU, where LSU won in with Joe Burrow 2019. And then since then, have been like a regular 9-win team. And it's almost like, yeah, they won a national championship in 2019, but because they're only, a little bit above average or have been, you kind of almost not necessarily forget about it, but I feel like Ohio State feels much more prevalent going on a 10-year drought, but then finally winning one, but being active in that playoff hunt every year versus a team like LSU that won one and then is just 9, 10 wins, or not even 10, but 9 wins here and there. You get what I'm saying? That's just how I look at it. So I probably would lean towards 5 years of consistent playoff hunts, coming close, maybe not there, just knowing we're right around the corner from it. What about you, Chase? What do you think?
I'm with you, Christian. Consistency is the name of the game. You do not want to be out of the fold at any point in the measure, especially with the scripted A and how much that means to so many people like yourself and former players, current players, so much that comes with that. And that's a great point with Ohio State. They've been in the hunt little by little. They haven't had the best of years. They're not contending for a title, but they've stayed consistent. And now that it's all coming together, now it's like, okay, they can win something again. So I think if Alabama can stay in that hunt of just, like they said, the ladder of having 5 years and then reaching that point, getting closer and closer, I think it's better than to, I don't know, be compared to, like you said, like an LSU who won in, you said 2019, that's correct?
Yeah, with that Joe Burrow year where they ran the table, right? That was 2019, right? Yeah, because we won in 2020. Yeah, we got our revenge. But yeah, 2019, they ran the table. But if you think about it, Chase, since then, and even a little bit before that, I know, Les Miles, I mean, don't get me wrong, I know they've had success before, but you get what I'm saying. After Joe Burrow with Odron, I could probably pull it up, but they just went back to being a good SEC team, and that's about it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so we're on the same page. We both feel that consistency would probably be a little bit better, especially for, because think about it, even for us at Alabama, we expect consistency, and we've already gone on a drought of almost 5 years without winning one. So I guess in this scenario, it would kind of suck to have to wait another 5 years. But if that meant we still are, relevant at that stage, hey, man, I could live with that. I could live with that. I know a lot of people are like, oh, heck no. But Dwight's got a point. He does say we've only gone 15 years without winning a championship. And that was one time. That's the longest we've ever gone. I didn't even realize that was a stat. And I guess he's saying even going back. I mean, if you think about it, if you look at least when I used to go in the indoor, you see all the numbers plastered on the walls about all the years we won championships. I mean, we definitely won a whole hell of a lot of them. So I guess that would make sense. I mean, I could probably double check that, but I don't know. Here's what we should do, Chase. Since we got Carson on the phone lines, and I want to have him on here for plenty of time. It's already 12:12. We'll take this break about a minute or two early. We'll go ahead and hit this timeout. That way when we come back, Carson's got plenty of time to unload whatever he's got on his chest. I'm curious to see what he's got to say about this whole conversation. Really good conversation that QD brought up. Plus, we still got to dive into some playoff expansion talk, give you guys an update on what that looks like. Since we're talking about Alabama making playoffs and what we need to see, the good news is 16-team playoff expansion should be coming very soon. And if that's the case, I don't see how we're not in that year in and year out, but I guess you never know. We got to take a quick timeout. When we come back to the phone lines. We go 205-342-9904. It's Talking Tuesday. All you guys are more than welcome to hop on here. Or Join us in the YouTube stream. Again, we've got a great chat going on. My dad's here in the chat. We got QD, who's on the phone lines, Dwight, Carson, Ricky, everybody at Kenji. They're all hanging out. You can always interact with each other and have a nice conversation there as we do the show right there on YouTube at The Miller's Edge. Make sure you guys check us out as well. Quick time out. We'll be right back. Let's see. I'm going to catch up on it. Oh, whoops. I forgot to turn this on. Yeah, I don't know if you guys responded in the chat. I haven't seen it, but if you have, I'll get to it. But yeah, let me know what you guys think on that 5-year scenario. Me and Chase are leaning 5 years of consistent 10+ wins, playoff hunts, maybe even an SEC championship or so, but no national championship versus winning a natty and then 4 other 9-win, seasons. I would take the former, the consistent deep playoff runs and 10+ wins. Okay, here it is. Good afternoon, chapstickers. Oh man, he's in here trolling. Oh god. Yeah, I mean that's fair, QD. I mean, I wouldn't say we were elite in 80s or 90s, even though I don't know much about it, other than what I've looked up. I mean, like you said, you experienced it, but I mean, I'll be honest with you, I think we throw around the word elite so loosely. Not you in this situation, but I'm saying so many people do. Like what we have done with Coach Saban and Bear Bryant, that's elite. You know what I mean? Like Ohio State, I would say great, not elite. You know what I mean? Even as consistent they've been. I mean, Florida, when they were on that run, elite. You know what I mean? Like Miami, elite. Nowadays, I feel like we just throw around that word so much. Again, not you, QD. I'm just saying in general. So even when Cam was at Florida and Tebow's backup and then got kicked off the team, you knew he was him. Dang, QD said if we don't win 10 games, we'll be average. I mean, I hate to say this, but I get what you mean. Like, we'll be our definition of average. Average to us would be like what we've seen at like LSU and stuff like that.
Miller's Edge.
If we don't win 10 games, I agree. We definitely are kind of in that realm. And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. All right, we're going back to the phone lines where we got Carson on the phone. Carson, welcome in.
How you doing, Christian? Happy late birthday, man.
Oh, thank you, bro. I'm doing well, man. I appreciate it. How's everything?
Pretty good. Just working here at the office today. Got my lunch. Come give you all my issues with this last topic. No, I'm kidding. But man, I'll tell you what. It's interesting, and QD's perspective is a lot like a lot of older fans' perspective. But what I don't want to happen is for me to become, or fans in general, to become the get off my lawn guy. Where it's like, I don't, especially when it comes to defending mediocrity, almost like wearing Alabama's unsuccessful seasons as a badge. I don't want to do that because I don't understand the reality of what has happened in the past, but I just think having the opportunity or the idea to be a fan every single year with expectations is a good thing. I mean, I don't ever want to lose that at Alabama. And I don't want to look at it and be like, oh, well, we used to suck, right? I don't want to I just don't think it's productive. And one, there's a lot of contributing factors to the things that he mentioned. We weren't the top dog in the 90s. Look, I was around, I was young, but I know the history of Alabama, and Florida dominated in the 90s, and especially the early 90s. But all what I'll say to combat that is that there's not going to be another run like what Florida had either. You know, there's not going to be another run like what Bama's had under Nick Saban with you guys. It's just, I agree with you that what you were saying is that it's a tier of teams, you know, and I mentioned that in the chat. There's a couple teams that have a legitimate chance to get into the playoff and to win the SEC every year, and it's probably going to revolve, you know, it for a while. And as long as Alabama's in that category, I'm happy, you know. Bringing up Ohio State was a perfect example, and I'm glad you brought it up because I was going to bring it up. But that they are outside of the anomaly of the run that you guys had at Alabama under Nick. Like that's an anomaly. But if you're going to point to another team in college football that has been the pillar of success, it is Ohio State. You know, they've always been competitive. They're 10 wins a year, possibly 11, and they're always in the hunt to win it, whether they've won it or not. And I would, if I didn't know the outcome, that like the scenarios that you created about, you know, 5-year periods of this or that, if I didn't know the outcome, I would much rather just give us 10 wins, put us in the playoffs, and get in and allow us to have an opportunity. I would take that every single time, even if we didn't win a national championship, because you know you have the opportunity to do so. And but yeah, I never want to defend mediocrity. There's a lot of reasons why Alabama wasn't good back then, whether it be the sanctions. We got our scholarships cut in half, and Shula still managed to win 10 games, even with all of that stuff right before Saban got there. And so we made the best of what we had, but it was dark for a while. But there's a lot of factors that went into that. It's not like we were just some poor school that were trying to keep our head above water the whole time, and we got lucky with Nick Saban. It's not true.
What do you feel like is what do you feel like, you know, is the likelihood of, you know, us returning to something like that post Saban? You know what I mean? Where, you know, you get what I'm saying?
Well,
like, kind of like back to those, like, what do you think is more likely? Do you feel like we build off of what Coach Saban has done, and we have more of that Ohio State kind of outlook? I'm looking at, I'll share this with the YouTube right here, and this is why I brought them up. I mean, so they did win, you know, BCS championship in, you know, 06, 07. Then obviously they didn't win another one until, well, they didn't win a championship until
last
2014 year. When they, well, yeah, last year, but then also 2014 when they beat us in the Sugar Bowl. But if you look at this, since 2013, what year is that? No, 2013. 2012. I'm sorry. 12 wins, 14, 12, 11, 12, 13, 13. Now 7 because of COVID. They stopped playing. They were 7-1. 11, 11, 11, 14. That's consistency. And to me, I would rather have something like that than, you know, I looked at LSU. I'll pull this up real quick. LSU was like, yeah, you had Les Miles, BCS, they won some then. Then they won with Joe Burrow in 19, but then you're seeing like 9 wins,
8
some 10
wins,
wins, like 7 or 8. Yeah, and to me, I'm like, that for us, I don't think a lot of people would be happy with that. I think they'd probably lean more to Ohio State, you know.
Yeah, I definitely would take the wins. And it's not, you know, when you boil it down to the hypothetical, it's a great thing to do, and I agree with you with that. I do, but if I don't know the outcome, give me the wins. You know, because it's the illusion of it's the illusion of a fan of like, hey, we have an opportunity in a team to go win something, and also it goes into success of your players too. Like Ohio State sent a lot of guys to the NFL, just like Bama has, and so like I expect more of the same. I mean, look, you don't just do what Nick Saban has done at Alabama, and then your team falls off of a cliff the 1 year after. That's a vast overreaction to a 9-win season, you know. And so, look, we're still getting a lot of talent in there. We're still like the culture is still Alabama culture. You know, it might look a little bit different, but there's a lot of pride in the program. And that starts from the top, and it starts with fans too. So if we start sitting here as a collective of fans and only bring up, oh well, like we're gonna suck, like we're not gonna be what we were, or we're gonna be like we were in the late '90s and the early 2000s. I don't think it's productive, because that's every bit as important to the culture of Alabama football as a lot of the other things. It's not just the players on the field; it's the pride you have as a fan and the way you speak about your program. So I'm not going to do that, because I know it's important. It's like when you're speaking as an Alabama fan, you're speaking from a place of pride, and it's like I'm not going to put that into the ether, of like, oh, we're just going to go back to mediocrity. Okay, great. Then all you have is mad Alabama fans call it in on shows and just huffing and puffing hot air.
I will say one thing that hey man, sometimes people get those reactions, man. It does get the conversation going. Sometimes it's positive or negative. I'm not gonna lie to you. I learned that from my dad. I don't necessarily do it as much, but I will say the days we've had the most traction things going on is when he said some outlandish comment or something and had everybody fired up.
It gets people fired up. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but I don't think QD is predicting that we go back that course. I think what he was just saying was that he's using that to back up the importance of why year 2 is so pivotal for Kalen DeBoer in this program, which I will agree. And I've said this before, I think it was, probably a couple months ago, but year 2 will be huge. And I'm going more so off of, I wasn't necessarily pointing to those years of that era, but I would say more so like momentum is real. Whether it's in the middle of a football game, whether it's in your career, whatever it is, momentum is a thing. And we've had this momentum. And yes, it's kind of, I wouldn't say diminished, but it's slightly started to go down a little bit. That's fair. But I just think it's so important, because when you talk about momentum in college football, you're talking about recruiting, you're talking about the outlook of the program. A number of things kind of rely on that. So I think it's so vital that, because Alabama, everybody has these crazy high expectations from the external world, the internal, the fan base. Everybody does. And so if we just happen to have 2 9-win seasons, even though it's not the end of the world, even though, that doesn't mean year 3 you can't just go win a national championship. It doesn't mean that. But unfortunately, if you're Alabama, things just look so much different if that is the case. And then you're playing a game of catch up. That's kind of the way I view it. Then you're going to have to go back to prove, because right now, like, even though we won 9 games last year, these recruits still look at Alabama as, a big time program. Obviously they grew up watching, the dominance over the years.
Right.
But even so, they view it as, oh, we still can trust Coach DeBoer. That was year 1. People have common sense, and they're not writing us off just yet. But I would argue if we had 2 back-to-back 9-win years, the doubt is really going to increase. And then recruiting could be a little bit harder. You know what I mean? The buy-in from your current guys might be a little bit harder. That's why I think the momentum's so important. That's just my opinion.
It is. And before I let you go, let me pose this.
Yeah.
If we what if we have 9 wins but make the playoff and get to the national championship game? We don't know if we win it or not.
I'm good with it. I'm good with it. It reminds it, because in 2017, the second national championship that we had won when I was there, we lost to Auburn in the final game. And everybody was upset about losing an Iron Bowl. We didn't, and that meant we didn't play in the SEC championship. So obviously we kind of were bummed about that. But what we did know, we said, well, there's still a chance we make the college football playoffs, and if we do that, it's wraps. And that's literally what happened. We made it, and we made the most of that. We won a national championship, and because we won a championship, and I know you just said we wouldn't win the game, but still, I'd argue that would help erase the other stuff, because the fact that we won the national championship game, everybody forgot that we lost to our most hated rival, Auburn. Everybody forgot that we didn't play an SEC. I forgot about the SEC championship game that year because I just know I have a national championship ring. So that definitely helps solve a lot of problems.
Because I mean, with this playoff era, there is a little bit of room for some slip ups. And look, that video that I was talking about, Josh Tate mentioned it, and I agree with him. I've been saying it. The new 10-win and 11-win season is a 9-win. It's like that's what he said. He said it's gotten so competitive that, like, you win 9 games, like you have a shot to be able to make the playoffs. And that's the reason why I posed that scenario, because there's still a chance, like, we get in. I thought we should have got in last year, but it was our own doing. But
Allegedly, SMU's coach felt the same way. He thought we should have too.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah,
interesting. But he said both teams. Now, at first I read that he said Alabama should have got in, and I was like, wait, what? Then he was like, oh, both
Yeah,
teams. And
over
I was
them.
like, okay. Yeah, I was like, wait, that's kind of crazy for him to come out and say that.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they didn't play great in the playoffs, but okay, fair enough.
Right.
But no, that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, again, interesting conversation we're having, but I think it's fair. I don't think it's necessarily just yet, the angry, like, oh man, we're going to go back. No, I think it's just
too early.
People, I think people just know that, at least like him, and I think it's a valid point. Like for someone like me, I didn't experience those years, so I wouldn't really know that. But I guess for the people that have, they just bring up that as being a possibility that they don't want to happen. Just like if somebody, I know I keep going to finance, but it reminds me of this. If somebody experienced some big, long depression in the market and it took years to recover, if you haven't experienced that, you might not be like, it should be fine. But
right,
I hadn't experienced that with Alabama. So in my head, I'm like, nah, that ain't happening. I guess
Yeah,
it could.
no, you're absolutely correct. And it's look, I was there when I was a kid. We weren't too good. I saw Sean Alexander play. Back in the days that we weren't that good, but we had good players. And look, Nick Saban has left us better than he found us, and I don't see that happening. So
no, I don't, and that's why I think now with the transfer portal, the resources, what we built up here, that's why I use that example of like the quick recovery type deal. I don't. I think at worst you see like kind of what Pate was explaining, like the 9-win type deal, which you still are having a chance to go to the playoffs. I don't see if we're not even in that realm, something seriously is wrong because we have way too many resources and things. Yeah, now that would be a problem. Definitely.
Yeah, then I'd be on the front porch yelling at everybody. But
absolutely, I think a lot of us would. I think we just all be in unison, scream and get off our lawn. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Well, Carson, I appreciate you, man.
That's all I had to say, man.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. I appreciate you chiming in on the conversation, man. Always welcome.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for taking my call today, Christian.
No doubt, man. Be easy, man. Good deal. All right, we got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we keep on rolling. We're going to dive into a little bit of this playoff talk. I see my dad in the chat. I don't know if he wants to hop in on here or not. If he wants, I'll send him a link real quick. But we're going to watch a little bit of this video Carson mentioned too. By the way, I want to see what Josh Pate had to say. We'll pull up a couple minutes from that, and we'll go from there right here on this Talking Tuesday. This is the Miller's Edge, Title 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Wait, y'all are going crazy in the chat. What's going on over here? 97 to 07, Bama was an average program, mainly due to probation. Ricky said Carson W. Y'all are funny, man. The long run, I think Bama will be okay this year. No, I think we should have a good year this year. Let me go ahead and pull this video up too real quick. I get where the concerns come from, QD. I know the whole stock market comparison thing is annoying, but I get it. If you experience something like that, it's going to come to your mind more so than it would somebody who hadn't. So you're just, voicing that. And I think that's fair. Personally, I just feel like the difference is during that period, say like post Bear Bryant, right? Like, now I'm not going to try to speak in that. Like I know exactly how recruiting and all that stuff was going or what it was like. But I'd argue with the transfer portal, with the resources that we have, the players that we already have right now that are really good players. The reality is that we wouldn't fall like that. But again, I mean, and anything's possible. I'm not saying like, oh, it's impossible, but I think the chances are much higher for us to stay in the realm of relevancy. I guess that's the best way to put it. So I don't know if I feel like I slept I almost feel like I overslept. I don't know if you guys get like that too. You sleep so much that it's like you still feel tired. I'm like, God, man. Yeah, no, I think it's all valid points on both sides.
CNC machine work, welding, laser cutting, pipe fitting, industrial maintenance, and crane rental. With a proven track record of over 30-plus years of experience, no one is better fit for the job. For an evaluation, contact Brian Harding Construction today at 205-752-9611. Again, that's Brian Harding Construction at 205-752-9611.
This new year, I want to spend more time with my family, get healthier, and make sure my finances are in order. That includes finally securing life insurance. My friend recommended SelectQuote. They've helped more than 2 million people find coverage in the last 40 years. In 15 minutes, a licensed insurance agent found me a $500,000 policy for only $16 a month. And my husband got a $500,000 policy for only $18 a month. Plus, we qualified for same-day life insurance. No medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. With SelectQuote, even if you have a health concern, be it high blood pressure, diabetes, even heart disease, their experienced agents can find you the right life insurance policy at the lowest price. Make life insurance the first resolution you check off your list this year.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-989-4040 to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-989-4040. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-989-4040. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Mostly cloudy this afternoon. Strong thunderstorms will become likely. Those storms will have dangerous lightning, heavy rain, small hail, and some strong gusty winds for a high near 83. Tonight, skies will be cloudy. A stray shower or thunderstorm is possible with a low of 71. Then for tomorrow, on your Wednesday, partly cloudy skies in the morning, giving way to cloudy skies during the afternoon. A stray shower or thunderstorm is possible with a high of 85. I'm meteorologist Bill Murray on Tide 100.9.
It's 80 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into Miller's Edge, 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We've been having some really good conversations. Year two under Kalen DeBoer, what's it going to look like? What needs to happen? What's likely to happen? What would you guys prefer in terms of the outlook for the next few years? Which I thought was a good discussion. If you guys want to respond to that, you haven't already, 205-342-9904, or drop in the app message or here on YouTube. But again, the two scenarios I threw out was you got 5 years. Say we'll say a 5-year plan. Option A would be, say, one national championship within those 5 years, but the other 4 years are straight 9-win seasons, maybe even an 8-win season, just very average, I guess, seasons. Other than that one national championship year, I guess something similar to the whole, Gene Stallings thing, or his years that we discussed with QD, or more of the what we'll call the Ohio State model, where you got 5 straight years of 10+ wins, 11 wins, playoff runs. You don't necessarily win a national championship, but you're in the hunt and you're coming up pretty damn close. We'll just call that the consistency model. Then we'll call it the one and done model. Me and Chase were leaning towards the consistency model. Carson as well. Seems like a lot of people were. But if you guys want to respond to that, let me know. I'm curious what you guys would prefer at that. Also, we got to get to this video real quick while we're talking about year two, Alabama, Kalen DeBoer. We'll get to the playoff expansion here in a minute, but Carson recommended this video, and Josh Pate was discussing his thoughts and outlooks. So let's go ahead and dive over here. This was him on a podcast called Crane & Co., and let's see what he had to say about Alabama and outlook for year number 2. We'll start here.
Josh, I want to kind of talk about the fan perspective of where we are in year 2 under Kalen DeBoer, because we were talking before we got on here, and with Nick Saban, you had a good idea what you were going to get. Like, you knew it was going to be really good either way. Would it be the most elite that year? You thought you had a chance. But now, if you're an Alabama fan that's, a little bit younger, it's kind of uncharted territory with a new head coach. The year before, you don't make the playoff. Even in Alabama, though, it's year one. You feel like you've shifted some personnel around to fit your system some more. But how should Alabama fans feel about where the program is right now heading into the 2025 season?
Well, the measure of the program is ultimately, the results you're producing, do guys want to play there? So I would still say brand new. We're within, 36 months or so of Kalen DeBoer taking over. So I still define that as new. Obviously, we're looking at an unprecedented situation in that we always knew whoever took over for Saban was going to be in an unprecedented situation, no matter who it was. I'll tell you, as it relates to this year, what I would think is if you were to blind test me 8 years ago, the middle of Saban's run, and you asked me, what are the years going to be like when he leaves? I would have thought totally up in the air. It could be disastrous because I would have wondered who wants to take over for him. And I also would have wondered how big of a house of cards is a Saban organization once he leaves. There was a lot unique to Bama that you would think may or may not work without Saban. So DeBoer takes over, above average year last year, if that by Bama standards. But
here at Mint, we love.
I will give pushback. He said, some would have thought maybe the years would have been disastrous post Coach Saban. I don't necessarily think so, at least not initially, just because you talk about, we had a lot of guys leave, but at the same time, we still had a lot of good players on this roster and all the resources. So I don't know if I would have thought it would have been disastrous. But then he also said last year was above average. If he's saying on a national, scale, maybe. Actually not maybe. 9 wins on a national scale, sure. But for us, I don't know if I would call that necessarily average. But I get what he's saying.
Is the same important thing we talked about with Ohio State last year. We didn't know Ohio State was going to go win the national title, but what we knew is a ton of their guys chose to come back. Yeah. And that's foregoing either the NFL or foregoing bigger money elsewhere in the portal. And that second part right there is really the primary part in today's college football. So the way I look at it is, all right, I'm a year into Kalen DeBoer. I've got guys showing with their actions they want to be a part of the program. I'm going to have good returning production this year. And then also, I don't know off the top of my head, I probably have it somewhere here. They were, here it is. They were 123rd in penalty yards per game last year. I can't assume that gets worse. They were 97th in, they were terrible on third down. I think they were in the 90s on third and long. They're all correctable issues. The question is, do they get fixed? And are the intangibles we're talking about sort of in line with the path to fixing that sort of thing? Look, with 9.5, I know there's a couple of teams that have those 9.5s. I don't know if I wouldn't just roll the dice and bet under on everybody. Yeah. Knowing how we lack an elite team in the SEC, but you're surplus of pretty good teams. I just think it's hard to win 10 games no matter who you are anymore.
No, without a doubt. And it's going to be really interesting to see if 9-3, if one of those teams that didn't get in last year, you look at LSU, you look at Ole Miss, you look at South Carolina and Alabama as well. Excuse me, not LSU, but Alabama. Alabama didn't get in, SMU did. You talk about returning production, Josh, and that was going to be kind of my next question I wanted to throw at you, because I'm looking around the landscape of college football, and there's so many new quarterbacks at top brands. I mean, we've gone through the list: Ohio State, Oregon, Alabama. You can go through it and find a bunch, more than I can remember, honestly, in a while at the top shelf places. But when I look at what's coming back for Alabama around the quarterback position, and in general, the two teams that I look and say, all right, with a new quarterback, which are the top two teams from a roster around them standpoint? To me, it's Ohio State and Alabama, because I'm looking at the rest of this Alabama roster and the rest of these position groups. Offensive line, stacked. Alabama should be unbelievable on the offensive line this year. Wide receiver room, stacked. Running back room. Alabama's always going to be fine at running back, and the offensive line is going to make the running back. Then you look on defense, they return what, Blaine? Nine starters. 9 starters from last year. The defense should be even better, and you bring up those mistakes that they had are fixable because they were self-inflicted. And that's been the biggest difference, I think, between Nick Saban teams and the Kalen DeBoer team we saw at Alabama last year. But would you make the case that Alabama has the best returning roster around a new quarterback in college football, or is that Ohio State?
You can make the argument. I don't think you'd be definitively wrong if you said it. I don't view them as some slam dunk either way. The one thing I will say is you named a number of things there, and one that you named that we've been used to just being able to blindly assume about Alabama that I don't blindly assume is you said Alabama will always be able to run the ball. Well, that's because we've always seen Bama run the ball, but they didn't last year. Milroe led the team in rushing yards and rushing touchdowns, and they were not good at all outside of him at the tailback position. They were, I think we found at the tailback position, they averaged under 85 rush yards per game in conference play. So that's way off the mark by Alabama standards. Now, you ask guys there, and they've got different theories as to why that is. Maybe we didn't have the horses we thought we had. Maybe we didn't commit to the run game enough. Maybe the offensive plan in general was scatterbrained because the quarterback position was Jekyll and Hyde week to week. Something there is correct. But the point being, as you move forward, if you're right, if we can blindly assume Alabama is like B to B plus or better in the running game, the traditional running game, then yes, everything will work downstream of that. And you're probably right, because I think they were good defensively, very quietly last year. Like, no one really paid much attention to that. They were good. And they had some young corners on that team. And I think their DB room and their wide receiver rooms, respectively, could be the best at those respective positions in the conference. Run game and then pass rush. Those two things. Like, if you were to tell me they're at least above average by league standards in those departments, then I think the answer to your question is yes.
Going online.
No, I'll agree with him on that. You improve the pass rush. We talked about that. That's exactly what we just said last week. I mean, you look at the numbers. Defensively, we performed the way we performed with such poor numbers in those categories of pass rush, tackles for loss. I mean, the play up front wasn't elite by any means, at least on paper. Now, if you watch tape, you know, they played some good ball, were inconsistent, weren't physical enough at times, needed to do some things better, specifically that. I mean, you can't be 14th in the conference in pass rush and not think there's anything you can improve on. I mean, that definitely needs to be better. But what I'm getting at is I get what Pate is saying. I mean, if you run the ball better and you get, more pressure on the quarterback, you're talking about just those two differences right there, then add in what they mentioned earlier in terms of being more disciplined, limiting the penalties. I mean, in knowing they won 9 games with those issues last year, I mean, it sounds like a no-brainer that this team will be a playoff contender, if not, maybe the national title contender that we believe they can be, but those things do have to improve. The only thing is, I'm with you, Ricky, when this guy was saying, like, best offensive line group. I mean, sounds like he might have just been reading PFF stuff. I don't know if I would say we just look, stacked to being the best of the best. Just I wouldn't necessarily say that. I think we definitely got good potential there, but that was a little bit of a stretch there. But I don't know. You guys said these guys are Auburn guys, so maybe they don't pay too much attention. It definitely sounds like this guy doesn't. But to be fair, he was giving us props, so thanks. All right, we got to hit a timeout real quick. It's the last timeout, and we come back. We'll watch a little bit more of this video, break it down, then we'll save the playoff talk probably for tomorrow when we have a little bit more time. But quick timeout. We come back. We wrap things up right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch sport experts. We'll be right back.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
Coming up on the Tuesday edition of The Game, we'll talk to Mike Detillier, WWL, the big 870. We'll talk to Brad Powers. We'll break down a lot of college football, and we'll feature the right tackle from the University of Alabama, Wilkin Formby. He's got a youth football camp coming up right here in Tuscaloosa. It is thewalkfoundation.org, and it's absolutely free. Listen for the details this afternoon starting at 2 p.m. on The Game on Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The longest running sports program in Tuscaloosa. The Game with Ryan Fowler. Weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
At Tuscaloosa Mazda, they are expanding their showroom to serve you better. Come see their new and pre-owned Mazda lineup, offering fuel efficiency, advanced technology, and plush comfort. Tuscaloosa Mazda, 3100 Skyland Boulevard East, or online at TuscaloosaMazda.com.
Hi, I'm Marty Lyons. When I come to Taco Casa, I always order the 2 and 2. 2 Sanchos, 2 enchiladas.
And I'm Wilkin Formby. And when I come to Taco Casa, I always order the Fantastic Four. 4 Sanchos, 4 enchiladas, 4 tacos, and 4 burritos.
Taco Casa is always made with the finest ingredients and made fresh when you order. So whatever the size of your appetite,
There's always something delicious waiting for you here at Taco Casa.
Taco Casa, under the biggest cactus in town.
Are you receiving unemployment? Your benefits could be at risk. Here's how you can protect yourself and your benefits. Never respond to mail notifying you of a false claim in your name. Never answer a text message asking you to verify your account. And only respond to official Alabama Department of Labor's social media pages. Report fraud at labor.alabama.gov/fraud. Brought to you by the Alabama Department of Labor, ABA, and the station. The Alabama Department of Labor is an equal opportunity employer program. Auxiliary aids and services available upon request to individuals with disabilities. Dial 711 for TTY accessibility.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama, we are here treating patients from every generation across the United States and from around the world. We're here for the rookies and the dreamers, trying to make a name for themselves. We are here for the achievers
who are resilient
and won't take no.
They say they want consistency. They want the consistency model until they notice no championships. Then they'll act up. I don't know. Other people probably would. I mean, maybe I would complain. Nah, I wouldn't. I'll be honest with you, man. I don't think I would complain. I mean,
with my Discover card.
I don't know. I mean, like, as much as I love, cheering for the team and supporting the team, like, I've never been one to where it like ruins like my, year if we don't win. You know what I mean? So I'll be good with it.
Take credit cards nationwide, based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I want to tell you about our great friends over at Brian Hart.
But you're right. A lot of people probably do say, yeah, we'll take consistency. We'll take 10, 11 win years. But then when they realize there's no championship, there will be, people complaining just because it's Alabama, which I get it, man. It's a standard.
Experience, no one is better fit for the job. For an evaluation, contact Brian Harding Construction today at 205-752-9611. Again, that's Brian Harding Construction.
If you guys haven't already, make sure you guys like the stream. That definitely always helps us out, man.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Mostly cloudy this afternoon. Strong thunderstorms will become likely. Those storms will have dangerous lightning, heavy rain, small hail, and some strong gusty winds. Look for a high near 83. Tonight, skies will be cloudy. A stray shower or thunderstorm as possible with a low of 71. Then for tomorrow, on your Wednesday, partly cloudy skies in the morning, giving way to cloudy skies during the afternoon. A stray shower or thunderstorm is possible with a high of 85. I'm meteorologist Bill Murray on Tide 100.9.
It's 79 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We were listening to this Josh Pate interview previewing Alabama football with Crane and Co. So let's dive back into it. Here we go.
Without ExpressVPN, well, it's like leaving your house private, simple to use booster.
Read.
Every day you.
And of course, ad. I should have known. It's all good. I get it, man. Got to pay the bills. All right, here we go.
Throw the ball, and even when they would run RPO actions, we would see Jalen Milroe pull the ball and throw it when they should have run it. I'm wondering with Ty Simpson and a new quarterback, hey, are we just going to turn around and hand the ball off a decent amount, or in that Ryan Grubb system, which say what you want. I know they had Penix and threw it around a lot. If they can run the ball, Ryan Grubb's going to run the ball.
Okay, so you guys are getting into something that's very interesting, which we talked about ad nauseum when Kalen DeBoer first came over to Alabama from Washington. And that was, the year before that, Jalen Milroe finished 6th in the Heisman Trophy voting.
I don't know why it's a pet peeve when people pronounce his name like that. Milroe. I think it's just Milroe, man.
Alabama in Nick Saban's last year. And then at the same time, look what Michael Penix Jr. was doing from Washington. I mean, he was making NFL throws at a clip. He was being asked to make 20 to 30 NFL throws per game, which is why he got drafted in the top 10 to the Atlanta Falcons. So we kept talking about, okay, when Kalen DeBoer comes over and he brings his staff over, what are they going to look for at quarterback? You got this guy who just finished 6th in the Heisman Trophy voting. I didn't think Tommy Rees, the play caller at that time, was using Jalen Milroe's legs the way that they could have have been used at that time, and that was Milroe's first year starting. Then Kalen DeBoer comes over. Ryan Grubb's supposed to come with him, takes the OC job at the Seahawks. Nick Sheridan is named the offensive coordinator. Now, I know I'm completely biased in this conversation because the guy used to be my roommate at Michigan. He's a friend of mine. I thought he got blamed for a lot of things last year, calling plays for Alabama unjustly. Now, of course, he would go back and change a million calls. I get it. But still, I thought he was using Jalen Milroe's legs in the right scenarios a lot of times, especially in that game against Georgia, big-time scenarios. Then you go on the road and play Oklahoma, or you got the bowl game against Michigan, and, the offense completely disappears. But Josh, I just want to ask you, from a quarterback perspective, you're going to start someone new now who's not Jalen Milroe, and you got Ryan Grubb to come back over and be your offensive coordinator. Do you think Alabama is in a better spot offensively?
Yeah, but dude, you just hit on something. I could give you like a 30-minute answer here. I'll condense it into like a minute or two. First things first, you're dead on the money with what you said about Sheridan. There's a reason he's still on that coaching staff.
Yeah.
And everybody in that building, when you go down there, privately, they will echo your sentiment. They don't say it publicly because it's viewed as excuse making. But people who know football kind of know the deal of what happened there last year and how handcuffed anybody calling plays at Alabama would have been. Sheridan is really good at his job, and I think he's still a plus member of their staff. Now, here's what because you played the quarterback position especially, but people who have played on the offensive side, that sometimes it's not merely the guy calling the play, it's which guy is calling the play. Ryan Grubb, in other words, could come in and call the same plays that Nick Sheridan was, but because of the impact of his personality, his persona, he's an absolute type A alpha type that walks in. There's just a certain level that you can get out of guys from an intangible standpoint that maybe the other guy couldn't get. It's not a knock on Sheridan. It doesn't have to be. It's a compliment to Ryan Grubb. I think so. That's number one. Number two, when you have Ty Simpson at quarterback, the best way I can put that is I think you should expect him to play within the system more than Jalen Milroe did. And I think what may surprise people is I've had folks on the defensive side at Alabama tell me, he's low-key a little bit harder to defend in scramble mode than Milroe was. Milroe's a way better runner. Milroe's an incredible, freak athlete. But a lot of times when you would see Jalen Milroe run the ball, it wasn't within the construct of the play itself. It was just, let's go, because I can. Ty Simpson is a guy who is, although a first-year starter, not a first-year player. And I think you can trust him to play within the confines of the system. Now, it's important to have proper expectation. I don't expect the guy to be a Heisman contender. I expect the guy to be a good, solid player who executes well. On the high end, we're talking about the Stetson Bennett kind of arc of expectation where, if you do it perfectly, hey, you're still in the Heisman conversation. But if you just do your job, like we were just talking about there with Jake, you've got the supporting cast. I think, though, within the constructs of that offense, you've probably got a really good marriage there of experienced veteran player, good decision maker, really, really good coordinator. And then you've got a supporting cast that if they run the ball, and I think Grubb will commit to it until they can run the ball, I think you got a really good shot of being a productive, consistent offense instead of one that hangs half 100 on LSU and then gets stoned by Oklahoma.
Yeah. I love that answer. It's very well thought out. In terms of having a quarterback who plays within the system, we've seen Alabama win national championships with that type of quarterback. Granted, the head coach was Nick Saban, and the one time I saw Kalen DeBoer take a Washington team to the national championship, again, they had a quarterback who was probably the best in the country who threw for 9,000 yards in 2 seasons. So can that be replicated under the new staff at Alabama? And look, week 1, Florida State. Josh, I find this matchup fascinating. One, it's just for any college football fan from a brand perspective, this is mega matchups. But going on the road, playing at Doak Campbell's one of the coolest environments in college football. Florida State, 4 straight losing seasons, which was, really surprising at the time until back-to-back 10-win years with Mike Norvell, including 1 undefeated season where they don't make the college football playoff. Then they follow that up with 2 wins a year ago. Now you're going to host Alabama coming in. We've talked about what the stakes are for this Kalen DeBoer staff replacing Nick Saban. What are your thoughts on Florida State right now hosting Alabama week 1? Are the stakes as high for the Seminoles?
Atera is the...
Well, I hate to do this to you guys, but we're going to leave a cliffhanger, man. We'll bring that back up tomorrow because we do, unfortunately, have to get out of here and make room for T-Town Sports Daily up next, but maybe we'll dive into a little Florida State talk since they left off right there at that note. I'm curious to see what they think about it. Plus, I can give my thoughts as well. But that will do it for us on this Talking Tuesday edition today. I appreciate everybody, all the contributions per usual, phone calls, Chase Behind the Glass, all our listeners, everybody interacting in the chat, everybody listening via radio, via the app. Big thanks to all you guys. And again, big thanks to everybody for all the birthday wishes yesterday as well. That means a lot. So thank you guys so much. That being said, we will see you guys tomorrow right here on the Miller's Edge, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Art Sport Experts, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, and live on YouTube with all you guys. Shout out to Carson. Appreciate that. We'll see you tomorrow and see everybody else tomorrow right here, 11 to 1 Central Time, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.